Hi, my name's Imogen and I'm a fourth year education student about to finish my degree at Deakin. In this video, I'll be discussing my philosophy of education and the key influences that have shaped my pedagogical position. I will also demonstrate the way I have been able to implement the AITSL standards, Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, in my teaching. In my opinion, education is the most powerful tool for creating change in broader society and the world. The role of education, in my opinion, is to combat inequality, facilitate social progress, and provide opportunities for all. While this may seem like an enormous task, I chose a career in education because I want to take on the challenge. I want to make a difference, and I can do that by teaching. That is, teaching students to become lifelong learners, to think critically, and to problem solve. To quote John Holt, "Since we can't know what knowledge will be most useful in the future, it is senseless to try and teach it in advance. Instead, we should try to turn out people who love learning so much and learn so well, they'll be able to learn whatever needs to be learned." This love of learning can be fostered in children by providing them with a classroom environment that allows them to collaborate with one another and to construct knowledge through experience. This is based on a cognitive constructivist approach to education, which is influenced by Piaget's work on human development. It describes learning as a process of constructing meaning via a person's previous and current knowledge. I strongly support and actively engage in the implementation of learner-centered education, developed by Carl Rogers, whereby students seek and contrast information for themselves and the teacher acts as a facilitator for this process. This approach values the importance of a learner's personal and emotional development within a caring and supportive classroom environment. This is something I personally feel is essential in a classroom that supports all of its students. I believe this can be done through developing students' social and emotional skills, including those of respect, resilience, and self-esteem, as well as fostering a safe classroom culture of inclusivity, understanding, and acceptance. Education is most inclusive when we cater to students' individual needs through differentiated learning. I also advocate an integrated approach to learning based around students' interests and real-world scenarios. I have a special interest in visual arts and believe in integrating it across the curriculum in order to make learning fun, memorable, and engaging for students. I believe my role as an educator is to empower children with the skills, attitudes, and knowledge to make equal opportunity a reality and change the world in whatever ways it needs to be changed. Even if I can't change the world, I endeavour to help make a difference in children's lives. As a teacher, this means continually reflecting on my identity as a teacher, as a learner, and as a member of this community. AITSL Standard 1.2 states teachers understand how students learn. I've been able to demonstrate this standard via the following example. Currently, I'm involved with the Deakin Science program at Oberon Primary. This unit of work that my partner and I have developed on magnetism is based on the 5 E's, which is an inquiry-based model for teaching science. This is a constructivist approach to teaching and learning. Through this unit of work, I've been able to meet AITSL Standard 1.2 by demonstrating knowledge and understanding of how students learn. According to the constructivist theory, student learning is a process of constructing meaning via making sense of experience. Our unit of work is based on this theory and therefore promotes experiential learning based on collaboration, idea generation, experimentation, and hands-on activities to explore the concepts of magnetism. In this way, our students are active participants in their learning, constructing meaning during an ongoing process. The premise of this model is that students learn best when encouraged to work out explanations for themselves over time through a variety of learning experiences facilitated by the teacher. In the first lesson of the unit, we focused on engaging the students in the topic. We used a brainstorm activity to gain understanding of the students' prior knowledge of magnetism and any misconceptions they may have had. This diagnostic assessment allowed us to plan, extend, and challenge students where appropriate. In order to make the teaching and learning engaging for students, we also wanted to gain information about what they were interested in to find out about. We did this because we knew if the students were interested in what they were learning, they would learn more effectively. In the following lessons, we focused on the explore and explain stages of the 5Es model, whereby ongoing formative assessment, both informal and formal, was integrated into the lessons. The phenomenon of magnetism was explored through hands-on activities guided by the teachers. Students explored the key concepts over 3 lessons, participating in activities such as magnetic fishing, the making of magnetic slime, and testing magnets through matter such as liquid. We wanted to cater to different learning styles in order for students to communicate their understanding via multiple representations. Throughout this unit of work, students were able to learn new concepts and show their understanding via ongoing assessments and activities that reflected their learning progress. The next standard I've chosen to focus on is AITSL Standard 4.1, which states teachers support student participation. The development of a learning environment that caters to the needs of all students requires a clear commitment to principles of equal opportunity and social justice. In order to meet this standard, I utilise a number of strategies to support inclusive student participation and engagement in my classroom. Social and emotional intelligence is extremely important for the long-term success and well-being of a student. This, therefore, affects their ability to participate as successfully in the classroom environment. Supporting any child's social and emotional development is extremely important in order to facilitate the participation of all children within the classroom and wider society. Classrooms are essentially diverse environments full of children with diverse backgrounds and life experiences. During my professional experience, I've worked with students with diverse and special needs. Some of these students have had autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, or Down syndrome. A teacher's role then is to differentiate their practice in order to support all of their students. Some of the strategies I've implemented in order to support the full range of students have included circle time, developmental play, real-life problem-solving and open-ended tasks, the integration of ICT, the use of graphic organisers, concrete materials, multiple intelligences, social stories and visual aids. During my most recent professional experience, I was teaching in a foundation classroom. One of my students was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and had trouble making and maintaining friendships. He had difficulty verbalizing his emotions to others and also had little awareness of personal space. In order to facilitate his understanding of the way people make friends, I made a social story for him to read at home and at school. I took photographs of the student participating in activities with others in order to role play and model the types of behaviour we promote students to engage in with other people. The social story was a tool I used to support the child in making friends, which facilitated his inclusion within the classroom. The book helped to cater to his visual learning style in order to help the child better understand the interpersonal communication skills. This modelled for the student how to interact in an effective and appropriate manner with others. The final standard I've chosen to discuss is AITSL Standard 3.1, which states teachers establish challenging learning goals for students. Providing learning goals that are achievable for students with varying abilities and characteristics is an essential component of differentiated teaching and learning. I was able to demonstrate Standard 3.1 during my professional practicum, whereby I taught a sequence of lessons on persuasive writing. The learning goal I developed was from the Victorian curriculum and required students to plan, draft and publish a persuasive text, experimenting with language features appropriate to the purpose and audience. The students were posed with the question, are humans the greatest threat to our environment? We brainstormed key ideas together that students could use in their argument. This topic linked closely with their sustainability inquiry unit, which meant students could use their prior knowledge of the issue to support their argument. The students used a graphic organizer to visualize their thinking and plan their essay. Students could use their prior knowledge of the issue to support their argument. The students used a graphic organizer to visualize their thinking and plan their essay. During this time, I individually conferenced with the students to gauge their understanding of the topic. In the next phase of the sequence, we started thinking about putting our plan into writing. In order to scaffold the students, we wrote an introductory paragraph together during a shared writing experience. Before students began writing their own introduction, they each set themselves a personal learning goal, allowing for further differentiation. Students made explicit statements at the top of their draft. For example, my writing goal is to use at least 3 rhetorical questions in order to challenge myself. The individual learning goal allowed the students to self-assess and self-reflect on whether they had achieved their goal. Due to the open-ended nature of the task, the students could write according to their developmental level, allowing them to achieve the learning goal to the best of their ability. I again conferenced with the students and provided scaffolding where needed. I was therefore able to support students on an individual level in order to meet the learning goals via this process.